This podcast is intended for adults 18 years and older. It contains explicit language and sexual situations. All thoughts and opinions expressed are of our own and not of those of any specific group, employer, or individual, and is not intended to take as professional advice.
Welcome to the 4OURPLAY podcast. Join the journey, experiences, and sexual adventures of two high school sweethearts navigating through the swinging lifestyle as millennials. Come along for the ride. Dare to play.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the 4OURPLAY podcast. It's Bella.
This is Jace.
Today's episode is a discussion and Q&A episode. And before we get into that, let's do a little life talking.
Life talking? Yeah. What's been going on? Anything exciting?
This isn't really a life talking thing, but I forgot to say this in the last podcast. But I wanted to wear a different fun shirt every time we make a new podcast. And so the last shirt I was wearing it said Eaten Out, and it was like the In-N-Out logo, but it says Eaten Out. And then today, if you're not watching this, if you're listening to this on the podcast and you're not watching it on YouTube, because obviously you can just see it on YouTube if you're on YouTube, but I'll describe what it's like or what I'm wearing for the podcast listeners. So today's shirt says Slutway, but it's in the Subway font. It's so funny. That's funny, right?
Funny.
I think it's funny.
It's funny. I think it's funny.
And we do have these on our shop. So if you wanted a shirt like this, you can go to 4play.com/shop. It's number 4OURPLAY.com/shop. And you're wearing a fun shirt too.
This is not on our shop.
No,
but this is just a 4OURPLAY shirt, and I wear it on the cruises, and it's literally me and Bella and Jason. It's the most gaudy shit I've ever seen, and I love it to death.
It's a wrap tee.
It's like a wrap tee with us
vintage
on
wrap
it.
tee.
I just think it's
sick.
So fun.
We do have them we make them for people if they wanted one, like if you want you and your partner on there, or maybe you want one of just your partner itself and you wanted to wear one, because Jace really wants one of just me. I still need to make that for you.
Yeah.
But we do have that.
Yeah.
So you can't get this specific one that has our faces on it. I mean, I guess if you wanted to, you could, but I don't know why you'd want that.
Also, if you heard Bella just talking about the YouTube part. So if you haven't heard, because we've only done it on one podcast before this one, but we are now recording our podcast with videos as well as audio. And so if you want to watch us talk about it, it's going to be the same audio as it would be listening, but you can go to YouTube. We'll have it linked down below in the show notes below. It is a different YouTube channel than our normal YouTube channel because we're going to keep them separate. But if you want to watch along instead of just listen, that's an option now too. So that's pretty fun. And you can see your shirt. So
you know something I've been obsessed with recently? This isn't really a weekly obsession, it's just a generalized obsession. Is TikTok Shop. It's so bad that that's a thing now. It's pretty much just an additional to Amazon, an additional to Shein. Did you guys know that a lot of the sellers, right? Because I was on TikTok and I was trying to get these. I was looking up organization. I'm super into like home organization and the home edit and all that kind of stuff. So I was looking up specific home organization stuff. And then, of course, I'm seeing all these TikTok shop organizers. And so I just looked up that specific name to see if I could get it faster, like anywhere else. So then it was the same shop also on Amazon. And then I saw the same exact seller shop also on Shein, which I think is also on Temu. So like all of those websites, I kind of always thought they were like different, but it's the same seller selling it just like on different places. Kind of like how we sell on Etsy and we also sell on our shop.
Interesting. I didn't know
that. I know. So
well,
anyways, so if you guys need something like earlier, or I don't know, you want to compare prices or whatever it is, you can go on all of them and just look at all of them. But TikTok Shop has really pulled through or came through, because I wouldn't say a lot, but we got quite a bit of decor from TikTok Shop that I found better things on TikTok Shop over Amazon or over Home Goods, or even like going in stores and stuff. But we got this mirror that's like rounded at the top.
It's very nice.
And I love it. And it was like $30.
Yeah, and it came like reasonably quick for it. Like it took like maybe a week and a half, which I felt like was quicker than I thought it was going to be here.
Because I thought it was like going to be AliExpress times.
Yeah, like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So, hey, I'm pretty happy with TikTok Shop as well.
Yeah.
So this first one, it's not really, it's not like a question we were asked, but it's something that we saw. I don't remember if it was on Facebook. We started discussing it, and it was social media's impact on swinging and like the swinging lifestyle. And has that been a positive thing for the swinging lifestyle or a negative thing? Or just overall, how has it affected it? I think it's a really interesting topic that we've definitely never discussed on here. So where do you think we should start?
So I think before even making content about the swinging lifestyle, before all that, there's just social media in general for people in the lifestyle. So we're talking SDC and Cassidy and C4U,
C4P, all the ones that are regional. There's a ton
Adult
of,
Friend Finder. Like there's so many.
Yeah.
And this is before even
Ashley
the apps.
Madison.
Yeah.
No, just kidding.
Not Ashley Madison. Although we did use Adult Friend Finder. That was like back in the day. I wonder if it's still a thing.
Cheating app.
No, I was just saying like apps that aren't,
cheating.
websites that aren't made specifically for the swinging lifestyle, I feel like. Anyways, so we haven't been in the lifestyle
almost 10 years,
but I don't know how long social media was before that.
Yeah.
Right, so I guess we can't really touch on things prior to that, but I do know it's definitely a positive for just meeting swingers. And I think that's what social media really is all about. It's just connecting, right? Finding people to connect with and all that. And having social media, I think in general, is definitely a positive thing.
Definitely agree. I think that social media, I guess in a sense, but like adult website, it's not really social media, right? So like SDC,
it's social media. It's definitely social media.
I guess you have profiles, so it is social media. But it's not like people were making content about it, right? It was a social media platform, but there weren't creators creating content about lifestyle things as much then anyway. It was more, I feel like, SCCU had a profile, but then I feel like when it came to education about lifestyle stuff, podcast is what came out next. I feel like there's been a lot of swinger podcasts for a very long time. I feel like whenever me and you started making content, there really actually wasn't a whole bunch on like social media, like TikTok and Instagram. There was a handful of us that were creating content back then, but there was a lot of podcasts, and like that's where we got inspired, was through all these people who had made these podcasts, and we're like, this helped us a lot. That's why we started making this content. But when we started doing that, I feel like the actual, the whole TikTok wave and Instagram wave of social media but I mean, now it's everything, right? There's a niche for everything on social media. And I feel like that over the last 6 to 7 years really has developed a lot. But especially the last 2 to 3 years, I feel like it's changed so much. And, I definitely think there's a lot of like positives with it, but I definitely think that there is like negatives that come along with that too. And I think it's like, would be fun to like have a dialogue back and forth of like those positives and the negatives. Yeah. So I'm going to start it on a positive note. So I'm going to go for the first one for me is I think it's really positive just in the sense of bringing awareness. So lots of people, like swinging, I feel like has such a stigma and people don't know anything what it's about. And there's been so many besides just podcasts, right? And if you're looking for podcasts, you're pretty much going to find a podcast if you're searching for it. With social media, you might randomly stumble upon some niche you've never heard of before or something that you didn't know about. So a For You page could bring something to your attention that a podcast never would have, because unless you're searching swinger podcast, you wouldn't have found a swinger podcast most likely. But social media is different, right? And so I think in the general sense of it's brought awareness to what the lifestyle is, because when we started, we were like, what is this? Like, what are we trying to do here? I didn't know it was the lifestyle. But now you see comments, you see those things where people are like, oh my gosh, me and my wife do this, but we didn't even know what this is, right? And so I think it's bringing awareness, and I think it's also bringing a normalization to like be able to see, hey, there's people that are like me doing this, and to be able to see that through social media, I think is a really positive thing.
I agree. I think that, especially being newbies, I think a lot of people start doing research. Mm-hmm. Whenever you do research, you go on the internet and you look it up. And back in the day, there wasn't that much information about it. And so then you kind of felt in the dark and you really just had to go out and experience it, which is the best thing to do anyway. You can research as much as you want and you can listen to podcasts and try to educate yourself and watch videos. But until you're actually doing it, like being in the lifestyle, and I'm not saying like playing with other people, just in general, surrounding yourself in that environment, you're not really going to know. But before people do that, they want an idea of what to expect, and
which is great.
I think that's the biggest positive about social media, shining light on the lifestyle. And because before there's pretty much just blog posts, maybe, and then probably forums. I know Reddit is like a big one because it's just people talking about it, which is still a really great resource. But I do think it's positive that as there's more people talking about it, more people creating about it, more people being open about it, it's getting to become more normalized
I
than
agree.
it was. And I think the biggest thing is just representation.
Yeah.
Being able to see people like, oh my gosh, like they're sharing their life and they do this. And so if they do it and I want to do it, it doesn't make me feel out of place.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's my favorite thing about being in this space is showing people that like you can be in the lifestyle and like still be a normal person. It doesn't take anything. It's just one part of you. And it's been something that's so repressed and so everybody hides it.
Yeah.
And I see why. Like it makes sense. Like society is not accepting it. The general society, most of society is not accepting of it. And I think that when you see somebody who is able to just be themselves and be authentic, it makes you, even if you don't want to go out and come out as a swinger per se, but just knowing that there are people who are like that, I feel like if the roles were reversed and there was like other people, like I would make me feel really good. So I
agree.
like that part about social media.
I agree. Another thing that I think is kind of like a positive and a negative is it's brought light to it, right? And in a sense, that's great because you see that there's people doing this. It's not weird. It's not abnormal, right? But at the same time, I think because as swinger creators, we're like lots of time we niche ourselves, right? And all we make is swinger content. Like
I feel like this is more, I don't know like if many people can relate to this though. I know this is just like a thing that we're talking about, but I think that it's like this is kind of more touching into if other people want to create content about the swinging lifestyle.
That's
and
not where I was going personally.
Oh, really? Okay.
So where I'm going with it is that people see it, right? And like I said, most of the time as creators, because that is where you find your, like if people follow you for being a swinger, right, then they want to see swinger content a lot of the time. And so I feel like
And when you're saying swinger content, are you just saying like content about the swinging
Yes.
lifestyle or like porn?
No, about
like swinging
about
porn?
no, not porn.
Okay.
About content, learning,
Okay.
education, vlogs, whatever it may be, right? I feel like lots of the time whenever, and you're a creator because we've seen it, right? And sometimes you create content and it'll be something but that's not exactly lifestyle and it doesn't perform as well as something that is lifestyle. So I feel like we kind of niche ourselves into this thing of creating lifestyle content, right? And I think what that does is I think to the outside perspective, sometimes I think that it might shape the idea of swinging as, oh my gosh, swingers are only swingers. Like, is this all they do? Like, all they make content about is swinging. And I feel like people think that in their head, which is not true, because if you watch someone who is a tech reviewer, I don't think, hey, all they do is review tech. Like, I assume that there's more to their life. But I think sometimes with swinging, because it's so stigmatized, people view that and they're like, well, all their friends are swingers. They make swinging content. That must be all they are. Like, swingers must just be this one-dimensional thing, and it's swinging, and that's their lifestyle, that's their personality trait, that's who they are. And I think that that is a negative that comes along with that. And that's where I was trying to like go with this, is because that's how the internet works so much of the time, is lots of people do niche down because that's where you find the most success. But I think also in niching down, we limit ourselves in a sense where people probably see us as this one-dimensional thing, which I don't think is maybe beneficial for the idea of swingers sometimes, because it can paint it as this picture of there's not more to us, which is not true about any of us. Every lifestyle person I've ever met, there's so much more to them. But I think to the outside perspective, it could, in a sense, cause people to think that that's all they do.
Yeah.
And so, but I get it, because stepping out and creating content that's not just lifestyle, when that's your niche, you don't see as much success. And like, it's hard to make content when you're seeing so much success in one lane, let's say, and then the other one that's trying to be about other stuff. I can see how that could just make it difficult. So I see it being a great thing because it's bringing attention to it, but also I think it could make people have the wrong idea about swingers. But at the same time, before, people's idea of swingers is that we're just these trashy, gross people that sleep with other people because we don't love our spouses. And at least educating about it is showing people, oh, this comes from a place of love. This comes from a place of growth together, enjoying these things together, making your love stronger. So it's still educating on it. But do these people that are being so negative even watch and take to heart what you're saying about how it helps a relationship? So it's like, that's like a very like, I can see going either way type area. But like I said, this is just a discussion about how social media is affecting it.
Yeah.
And I can see it affecting it in both ways.
Another thing I think is interesting is how, as there's been more light shown on the lifestyle and just open relationships in general, there comes more hate towards it, right? Because if you're now, there's more people who know about it, whereas before I feel like everybody was kind of in their own bubble, which is a good thing in a way, but because then you're only surrounded by people who are like-minded. But then whenever you're able to open it more, you can get more people who maybe didn't know about it but want to be open-minded to it, and then you can bring those people in. But then with that, you're going to get the other polar opposite where they completely hate it.
Yeah.
And I think that when you're reading comments, because social media is so toxic, it's bad on TikTok, but it's worse on Instagram. And even if you're reading an article that like a big company would post, and you go and look at the comments there, most of the comments you're going to read are going to be negative.
Yeah.
And it's because most of the people in society aren't accepting it, in the world, right? Aren't accepting of this lifestyle. And so when you are somebody on the outside who wants to try this and you're reading all this negativity, it can really skew your idea of it. And like, so I think that that's a negative part of how much social media is going on about the lifestyle. But it's like,
that's what with everything though, right? I feel like that's just social media in general. I feel like it has that same sort of feel where anything that you're going to learn about, I'll see a DIY thing about someone building a bookshelf, right? And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, this helped me learn how to build a bookshelf better. And then you'll read like 15 comments about people just like talking shit about the person building the bookshelf, and they're like, I didn't screw this thing. Like, so
and
I think
it's
that's
always the top comments.
Yeah.
So that's like taking everything with a grain of salt, and just it feels like in general, it's easier to be negative than it is to be positive. And so people are going to feed into that. And so that's something to be really like mindful of, especially when we're reading stuff about the lifestyle, when it's not just a forum specifically for people in the lifestyle or people who are like-minded.
I agree. I agree with all that. I do have another positive for me. I feel like it's helped. So I think it's helped normalize it for everybody. But being as people who started the lifestyle when we were 22, I have seen the lifestyle demographic not change where, okay, 45 to 55 is still the most people, right? But there was almost no one in their younger 20s to early 30s, I feel like, when we started the lifestyle. It was so difficult to even see anyone that was even close to our age back then, right? Now, I feel like there's a ton of people in their young to mid 20s to 30s that are in the lifestyle, right? And I think that they were probably maybe doing that before, but didn't know about clubs, didn't know what it was. And I think that social media has just brought light to it to realize like, oh, we're younger and we can still do this as well. So it hasn't skewed the demographic, but it's just made that bell curve go out further. And I think it's made it kind of like disperse better, where you do have people that are younger that are in these clubs now, which I think that if you're a strong relationship, you should be able to swing when you're 20 years old or 21 years old or whatever that age is, right? If you've been together and or even if you just communicated well enough. Yeah. So I definitely think that, because as a general rule, social media is for everybody, but on TikTok, I know that it has a younger demographic, right, than maybe Facebook, let's say. I think the average demographic on TikTok might be a little bit younger than it is on Facebook.
Definitely younger.
And so I think that that's brought awareness to this younger group of people and made the lifestyle better by just having more people. The more people we can get in the lifestyle, the more age ranges, the more ethnicities, the more everything, and the more full encompassing it can be. And just it can be a view of like any person that's obviously of like legal age, and any race, any ethnicity, anything. We're just people. They're just doing this thing together. And I think that social media has really helped that, because you look at it and it was phone books, right? And then it was SDC, and then it was these blogs and these websites didn't work. It was older people.
I heard of magazine catalogs.
Yeah, and like older people were using those.
Yeah.
And that's why those people continue to find this. And that's why I think social media helped. And it helped people obviously of any age find it, because everyone's using social media now. I mean, there's so many Facebook groups for swingers. Like, it's huge. So it's helped everybody. But I think it has helped make that demographic just bigger, which I really, really like.
Yeah, and that's just, I think, shining light more on it. More people know about it, and I think it's going to end up being there's a yin and the yang. There's going to be good and there's going to be bad. And I think overall it's more positive than negative, but just know that there are negatives to everything in life. Yeah. But yeah.
That's exactly what I was going to say. So I think it's going to be a positive overall, because any awareness any destigmatization, anything of making it normal in whatever capacity is going to make it better. And go for it.
I hope to, I didn't want to interrupt you, so you can keep going. I hope to see that there will be more creators who are in the lifestyle who just include that as, like, imagine a normal creator or influencer and also how they talk about being in the lifestyle, and just including it into something and not making their whole channel be about the lifestyle. And I think if there are more people like that, like you were talking about earlier, it's going to feel more normal.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to do now. Like we took a long break from creating lifestyle content and coming back into it. I just, like Jay said, it's just one part of us. And I think if there were more creators who, even if they weren't quotations lifestyle creators, but they were just, okay, there's like lifestyle and then there's lifestyle. There's like swinger
Let's
lifestyle.
say swinger and lifestyle, just so we can like keep them separate for right now.
Well, this one it's important to distinguish because there's people who are lifestyle creators. Like there's a lot of people who are, you know, like a ton of normal creators.
It's like,
or what they
someone
call
who doesn't know, right? A lifestyle creator would be somebody who makes content about life in general. Like, so maybe it's around the house, maybe they're doing laundry, maybe they have kids, maybe they
fashion.
Yeah, those are all lifestyle creators, right? So anyone who isn't familiar with the term lifestyle creator, that is what I think the distinguishing thing you're trying to say here. A lifestyle creator compared to a swinger creator.
But it's like a swinger lifestyle creator,
exactly.
So that's why it's confusing.
Yeah, so that's, I just wanted to clear that up in case anyone was confused on that.
So if there were more people, more creators who were normal lifestyle creators, but also happen to also be in the swinging lifestyle, and then they included that, I think that it would benefit so greatly. Like everybody, like it would just be more normal, and then people would see that there's, you know, like it's not all we do. But then I think that a lot of the people who are normal lifestyle creators probably don't bring that part in because the audience is going to not accept that.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so hard. And I want to briefly just shout out to this girl named Anna Paul who makes TikToks. And Anna Paul is a huge content creator.
She's what we would call a lifestyle creator.
Yeah.
So she not a swinging lifestyle creator, a normal lifestyle creator.
But Anna is a sex worker. Anna has OnlyFans, and she, to me, is the perfect example of normalizing this thing. Anna, I feel like so much of the time, right, when you have an OnlyFans creator,
and just to be clear, she's not in the lifestyle.
No.
Because, sorry, he said that almost like she's
no.
doing this thing. So it's just being in a more stigmatized, marginal area. Yeah.
And so, I mean, Anna does sex work. Yes, exactly. But I feel like so much times there's so many, like, let's say like a woman OnlyFans creator, right? So many of them have these huge demographics that are men, right? And people care about, unfortunately, looks and those things so much, and the sexuality of it. And what Anna, I think, has done is so special is that Anna has created content that is about her life, and sometimes she shares about the sex work stuff that she does, and sometimes she talks about her family, sometimes she talks about this, and this. And Anna, to me, is this all-encompassing thing. And if you watch Anna's videos, I think you'd watch 5 videos and have no clue that she's a sex worker, right? But then you know she's a sex worker. And to me, the process of mindset of going through like, oh, this girl seems like such a normal girl. She's so sweet. She's so fun. Like, I love this content. Oh my gosh, she's a sex worker. I would have never thought, people, right? I'm not saying my mindset, but someone else's mindset. I would have never thought that. Because I think that we have this idea that swingers, strippers, sex workers, like we're all these just like degenerate people that like don't do normal things in life. And that's not what it is. And so to me, if you saw someone, you thought that they thought on paper, right, in quotes here, a normal person, and then you realize they do sex work, then you can't have this stigma. Because if you think about someone who's a sex worker, I think so many people's mind goes to like, oh, they're porn, they do porn, there's something wrong with them, like they're not normal, there's no way they're normal. And if you saw them do normal things, you'd be like, nope, I saw they do porn, so there's no way they can be normal. But if you saw Anna, and you see that Anna's normal, right, in quotations,
first,
and then you realize she does sex work, I think that destigmatizes sex work.
Yeah. And
to me, that's why if we can create content that is lifestyle content, but also you see, and this is anybody, right? But this content that's like, oh my gosh, this they're such a sweet couple. They do this. Oh, they talk about their relationship. Oh wait, they're swingers? That's interesting.
The mind
because you're like, wait,
then,
they seem so normal to me, right, on paper. Once again, all this is in quotes with normal.
And when we're talking about your point of view, you're talking about like an outsider's point of view.
Yes.
Somebody who's never even known about the lifestyle or swinging lifestyle or anything like that.
So,
just like a typical normal person.
Yeah. So let's say I'm just going to go for this example, right? And this will bring this point home. Let's say there's a person, outsider perspective. They're going to hear the word swinger and they're going to think that, oh my gosh, this is weird, this is strange, I don't get it. But then if they watch that same creator make content that is about cooking cookies and going shopping, they're going to say they're swingers, that's weird. But if this person would see this content and see this very sweet couple who loves each other, that's shopping, that's making cookies together, that's doing these things, and then realize that they're swingers, it's going to flip your perspective in a different way where you're saying, oh my God, I thought they were once again in quotations, I thought they were normal, but they're swingers. But wait, but they actually still are normal. Yeah. And I think it just makes you question this thing differently, where you have this preconceived idea that swingers, that sex workers are bad, where now it's like, they're just a person, but they also do this. And that's, I think, the beauty of like what can happen with social media. I think what will shift in social media, because you see any of these lifestyle creators, or these huge creators that they were video game creators. That's all they did, right? And then over time, they start to show more of the normal life. And you realize that like, oh, there's more to them than just video games, right? But yeah, I think that's really that's like the last thing to me when it comes to the thoughts of it. I think that there's definitely going to be good and bad. For the most part, I think it's more positive because it brings light to it. But yeah, I mean, what do you think? Any other thoughts on it? Or
no, I think that social media definitely is more positive than negative. It brings people together. That's what social media is for. And I love that for us and the lifestyle and just people in general. I do hope that as time evolves and social media evolves, that as it becomes more normal, we'll get even more creators who are lifestyle, and they include that, whether they do that as full on just lifestyle content or adding in additional things too, and being more of like two types of lifestyle creator content. Like I hope that we just see more of that, because the more creators that we get like that, the more people are going to see, and the more people it's going to see it as more normal.
Yeah. And
so I just hope that we get even more creators, and social media just continues to shine light on it.
I agree.
And
100%.
like I said, and I know it's going to be negative a lot, but I think it overall will be more positive than negative.
I agree. 100%.
Yeah.
This podcast is brought to you by us, Bella and Jace. If you're going on a vacation, or maybe you have a gift that you want to give your other lifestyle friends and you're looking for lifestyle clothing, we have the best apparel on the market for you. We have not only clothing, bikinis, swimsuits, we have backpacks, tumblers, cups, anything that you can name, we probably have it. You can find that at 4play.com/shop.
Let's say you're at a party, you're going on vacation, things are moving a little bit slow. Maybe you want some conversation to flow. Maybe you want to move stuff towards play. Well, we have the perfect game for you. It's called 4Play the Game. It is a digital and physical lifestyle icebreaker game, and you can find out all about it at 4play.com/games. That's number 4, OURPLAY.com/games.
If you don't have a lifestyle vacation planned, a resort or a cruise planned, why not? You can join us. You can find that at 4play.com/playcation. We have not only information about the events and trips that will be on this year, but also other options for you as well. And it doesn't cost any extra for you to book through our links, but helps us a lot, helps us continue to be able to make this type of content for you. Now back to the show.
Part of the podcast is going to be a question that we got asked on our website. And if you guys wanted to ask us a question to have us answer on the podcast, you can go to 4play.com/ask. That's number 4, OURPLAY.com/ask. And this question comes from H&J. Hanja. They ask, we've been in the lifestyle for 3 years now and don't see ourselves stopping. We've been married for 20 years and our kids are 14 and 17. We don't like feeling like we live a double life. What's your opinion on disclosing the swinging lifestyle to children or family members?
So this is one of those things that I definitely think is going to be it's like a very polarizing topic, right? Do you tell these people about this? So there's definitely people that disagree with what we say, people that agree with what we say. So not saying that what we're saying is right. This is just our personal opinion.
Yeah.
And so, take it however you will. But we definitely can give you our opinion on it. I understand not wanting to live a double life. I get that. We didn't tell any of our friends. We told nobody, right, for so long. And I always felt like, I was like, man, these friends, I really like them. I feel really close to them. And I just feel like I'm not sharing this part of myself. right? And I remember the first time we ever told one of our friends, to me, I felt this like freeing feeling in that. So I see where this person is coming from, saying you live a double life. Being able to openly discuss whoever you are is a really nice thing. Now at this point, we don't have that many vanilla friends actually.
Yeah, we were just talking about it last night.
Yeah.
We were like, when was the last time we actually did went out and hung out with a vanilla friend, or even met a friend who was vanilla? And I mean, it's been like 3 years.
Yeah. Which is not on purpose.
Yeah,
it's
no,
just
it
the places
happens.
that we go, that's the people we meet. So to us, like, I know what it feels like anyway, like in a sense anyway, right? To be free, if you want to call it that, and not living that double life, because all the people I surround myself with regularly or semi-regularly, I can be myself and I can say everything. So for me, I feel like keeping that and not sharing it would be very difficult. So the possible ramifications that come with saying that, to me, I would rather be my authentic self and be able to be who I am than, I guess, like, keep it to myself. So for me, when it comes to, you know, telling kids, for example, I don't have kids. So, you know, like, maybe that would change if you had kids, but I feel like I would want to raise my kids in a way of being authentic to themselves, like I am authentic to myself. Obviously, I'm going to wait until they know what sex is about, and we've had that other discussion and they've grown a little bit. But this person, I think they said like one of their kids was 17, like they're at that age where they're almost a full-on adult. And I feel like I wouldn't tell any details. I wouldn't share any things like that, but, you know, saying like, hey, you know, we are in an open relationship. We just, you know, we have other friends that we hang out with, and we're adults, and we don't want you to find out through some random kid at school that says this about you, and you have to question about your parents. I want you to feel like you can trust us, and we're being transparent. I said, obviously, I'm not sharing any details or anything ever like that. Wouldn't be a long discussion, but not having them think that like me and you are sneaking around to try to like not do something with them, or like, why are they keep leaving on a Saturday? Like, to me, I feel like it'd be hard for me to live a life where I couldn't do that. But at the same time, I don't want kids, so that makes it difficult. But I don't like the thought, for me personally, not being able to be authentic to myself. I think that would be difficult for me.
So I can see it so many different ways, because I can see having a friend who maybe you've been friends with forever, and maybe they're super either religious or super just not sexually open, or, you know, anything like that, and but you still value their friendship, and you still love them. And maybe with those people you don't talk about sex with other people, like you don't talk about being in the lifestyle, because it doesn't make really sense to bring up that topic with them. And so I don't know if that necessarily means that you are living a double life, if you are just not talking about that part of your life. I mean, like, we have friends, even people in the lifestyle who, I mean, there's other parts to our life that are just for us, and it's not like I talk to them about everything. So I think, but I still feel like I'm myself.
Oh, 100%.
I think that as long as you feel like you can be yourself and you can be authentic without saying that you have to give every little bit of yourself to the people who are closest to you, I feel like that would be okay. Like, same thing with like family. So our family is a lot more conservative, both of ours, and so it's not like they know everything about us and what we do, and we don't talk to them about it. And I don't feel like I'm living a double life in a sense, because there are just things that I don't talk to my family about. I mean, even just with advice about normal things in life, it's not like I go and I ask. We just don't have that relationship with our families.
I wish I did.
Yeah.
100%.
I can see,
100%. I wish I did have that relationship. Like, we have a really good friend, and her parent, and she does all of this stuff in this like sexual
in the
space.
kink space,
And like, her parents know everything, and they are so open, and it's like the most amazing dynamic I've ever seen. And that's why I answered the question about if I had a kid, that's what I would want, because I see her and her family's relationship, and I think it's so beautiful, and I wish that I had that with my family. But I understand 100% what you're saying. So I don't want it to come off like, oh, I couldn't live a life without telling people. I think what you're saying is a very good point. I was thinking more in the sense of like these friendships I have, these people I felt really close with, and I just felt like not that I need to discuss my lifestyle things with them. I'm not saying that, but like keeping a part of me. They're like, why do you guys keep going to this club on Saturday? What club are you going to? I got tired of saying, oh, I'm going to this random bar. I'm going, like, that was hard for me. So I'd rather just say, hey, just letting you know, we're swingers. So sometimes when we go out, like, we're going to the swingers club. Like, and if they want to know more, then they're going to ask more. I'm not trying to push educating them on the lifestyle. I don't care to share that.
Right.
So I'm saying when I was answering that question, I said, I think what you brought up is such like a great point. Mine is those people that I feel like I'm going to be telling what I'm doing, like all of these different things. And I don't want to lie to them. I'm saying I'm going to this club, this club, this club, when that's not where I'm going. And I said, I don't want to talk to them about it unless they want to know about it. We've told vanilla friends, they're like, can you please tell me more? I'm so interested.
Yeah.
We've had vanilla friends. It's like, oh, that's really cool. I'm happy for you guys. We've also had vanilla friends that don't really talk to us anymore after we told them. So, and those people that don't want to talk to me anymore because of me being who I am, then that friendship was probably like deep down never going to like work out in the long term. So I'm okay losing that innocence.
That kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, how it's just one part of you. So if you're friends with somebody for like a long time and that happens to come up, and then they're going to see you completely differently just because of one aspect of your life when they love you for who you are already, then I can see how you would be feeling like you're living a double life because you have to completely change who you are for that person. I think whenever it comes to that, then you are living two different lives. But I think if you are still able to be yourselves, and maybe it's just something you don't bring up, I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing. I think you can still definitely still have a great friendship, a great relationship with whoever it is.
Yeah, and sometimes if you know that that's really going to hurt that person, right? To me, that if I knew that this person is super religious, right? They're one of my best friends forever. They're super religious. I feel like that's the kind of person that, like maybe you don't tell. And that's to save them, right? That's to save them the heartache. I'm okay with myself. I'm okay with whatever it is, right? But I could still feel like I'm being myself, because to me at that point, what I'm doing is I'm hiding that part of myself to help somebody else. A random person that I'm just really good friends with, I'm like, they really shouldn't judge me for this, because they've never given me any indication that what I'm doing would really hurt them mentally, right? So let's say a person, does that make sense what I'm trying to say? So
I think that walks a fine line too, because if it's somebody like you care about that much and you're trying to protect them, and so you're completely hiding something because you're just trying to protect, I feel like that could be kind of a gray area, because I could see how somebody would feel like they can't be themselves because they're worried about, oh, well, if they know this about me, then I think that comes more, I think, to family, and because you are locked in.
I don't know. Because there's lots of people that maybe not close to their family and their friends are that family.
Yeah.
So this is such a hard question. I don't think there is a right answer. I think it's very situational, and I think it's on who you are as a person.
Yeah.
I think that when it comes down to your core, there is people that can keep part of their life away from people and they're perfectly fine. I think there's people that down at their core, they have to be authentic to themselves, and they cannot imagine living not authentically to feel happy. And I can see it going both ways. So I think this is such a hard and touchy subject, and it's just so hard to answer. So I think that the points you made were valid. I think the points that I made are valid, but I don't think there's ever going to be like some right or wrong. I think that when it comes down to that person, if they're like, I cannot take it anymore, I am living a double life, I cannot take it, then that's the point where you say, hey, is this worth it? Think about all the ramifications that could possibly happen. Could people not want to be around you anymore? Could people want to disown you? Could people want to do this, or this, right? Are those possible risks willing for you to take? If you think that they're willing for you to take, and if they were to turn out sour, you're okay with it because now you feel authentic to yourself, then I think it's a good choice to make it. But if you look at this and say, these are the bad things that can happen, possibly, right? Then, and you're like, I can't deal with that. If that happened, I cannot deal with that. Then I think that it's better to feel like you're living a double life than to say that. So I think that, but also you have to think from the perspective, like, what if I tell this person this, and now our relationships become something so much better than it could have ever been, because now I'm fully myself. We all have secrets about ourselves. Everybody does. It doesn't mean not lifestyle secrets, but just whatever you are, right? Everyone has things to themselves. Sometimes whenever those barriers get broken down and you share those things, you learn to love in a new way. But also, sometimes you hear the stories about family disowning people, and that's a very real thing. That's very hard, and family is so important. And so I think that you just have to look at the pros and cons, weigh it, and like where you morally feel, is it worth it? And then make that decision based off that. But no, going in, think about this, because it could go bad, and if it does, you have to be okay with that. Because the worst thing, I would rather live a double life, in this person's case, like let's say I'd rather live a double life if I knew I couldn't stand it if something bad happened. But if I know I can take it no matter what the results are, and I'm going to be my best self because of that, then I would do it.
When it comes to kids, it's hard for us to really put our 2 cents into that, because we don't have kids and we don't want kids. And when it comes to being kids to parents, it's not something that we talk about with them very much. But if I could put myself in a situation like what you were saying earlier, I would hope that I could have that open dialogue with my family. So if I had kids, I would hope that they would feel comfortable to ask that, and they would feel okay knowing that, oh, my parents have an alternate type of relationship. Like they live an alternate lifestyle.
And that love can still be, love. And like I said, we talked about our friend who is so close to her family, and they know that she does all this stuff, right? I think it's so beautiful. My parents never had the birds and the bees talk. You never had that sex talk, right? Like, I wish they would have. Like, I wish that I was more comfortable with my parents with those things. But because my parents chose not to talk to me about it, I don't feel like I'm going to choose, because they were the ones who were raising me, teaching me about stuff. So I'm learning stuff about myself because I'm an adult now, right? And so, and maybe these feelings change when you have children. Obviously, you cannot know, but I see the relationship that I have with my parents, and I see the relationship she has with her parents. I think my relationship with my parents is great, but I see that this extra level of comfort that my friend has with her parents, and to me, that's the most beautiful thing. And like, that's what I want in all friendships, is just this beauty of fully being able to be yourself and not having to care. And that's why I would want to tell my kids, I feel like, if I had them. Also, this is speculation. I don't have kids, so it's impossible for me to truly know that answer. But trying to put myself in a situation that I really am not even fair to be in, trying to guess that for this answer for this person, that is what my 2 cents lie.
Yeah. It's also, I'm sure as a parent, you think about, well, what if my kids find out and their kids find out? Let me start that over. What if my kids find out because their friends know or something? And so then it becomes this kind of web of, are my kids going to have a negative social anything, like maybe something like they're going to get made fun of, or they're going to have people talk shit about them because of what their parents are doing. And with that, again, we can't really touch on it, but I can see how that would be something that you would need to discuss, and something that as parents you would need to decide and weigh the pros and cons of that, and just like yes, it's not really living a double life, but in the same way it also is, because you need to be, it might just be easier to keep it away from your kids.
Or that's what I say, maybe it's that thing of when you're 17 years old, you're 18 years old, you're an adult, right? Like maybe kids, people make fun of people for everything, right? But I feel like you getting made fun of your parents being swingers when you're 18, it's probably not really good. If you're 12 years old, you're 10 years old, but like if you're 18 years old, I don't really think people are making fun of people for their parents.
That's true.
Like regularly. I mean, I'm sure it happens, right? Like everything happens, but I don't think it's as normal as when you're a child. So like I see, and that's why I said this one is 17, the one that's 14, maybe I have a discussion with one of the children, and when the other one turns 17, turns 18, about to go to college, right? Like maybe I tell them at that point. So I think that it's all relative, and it's so hard to speak on when you're not actually in that situation. And so I said, take all this with a grain of salt, because this is us trying to insert ourselves in to give you an opinion based off of other factors that we've felt about different relationships and societal like standards of what we felt doing what we do, and then putting into this family aspect that we're not part of in that sense. And we don't want children, so...
And just giving talking points.
Yeah.
I feel like our podcast is more just having an open dialogue, and hopefully making it to where you're able to think of a different question, or it opens up a conversation that you could have with your partner. And so although we can't specifically talk on our experience about something, we could at least talk about, like what you said, how from what we've seen, from what other people have experienced and what they've talked to us about, and just so you're able to get more of an idea rather than being completely in the dark.
Yeah, and like maybe it lets you make a more educated decision, like you said, because you maybe now one thing we said even resonating, you're like, oh, I hadn't thought about that part, or maybe this part helps, and like hopefully one of these questions will help you have the discussion you need to have to make the decision that you need to make, because there is no right or wrong answer ever for this. So I think I hope that helped, because that's a hard one.
That is a hard one.
Great
But I like
question,
having these,
hand job. Great question.
I like having these kind of more open discussions where it's more polarizing type questions or topics, where we're just listing things. And these are the kind of conversations that Jason I have just whenever we're laying in bed and we're just talking. And so maybe putting it out there, it will help people, I don't know,
I agree.
come to a different realization of maybe something that they didn't know they had.
And I hope you guys like this. Please, if you like this kind of more discussion format, let us know. Like, we love to like hear back if people like it, but I think that it really like works well for our mindset around making this content. 'Cause I think it's more fun to you guys to hear a conversation that's the exact kind of conversation me and you would have off of this recording. This is exactly how we talk all the time, and that's how we go back and forth. And I think that that's, I don't know, the most fun. It's the most authentic to how I feel about talking. So I hope you guys like it. But you want to hit them with Bella and Jace's
Weekly Obsessions.
I think you should go first because you're cuter than me.
Oh, that's not true.
That's
I'm not
true.
cuter than you. We're both cute. You're cuter.
Drop a boat right now.
Okay, well, I will go first since
Why? Because
you
you're cuter.
insisted.
I'm just kidding.
My weekly obsessions, crochet. I have been loving crochet. I tried to get into crochet years ago and it just never clicked. And I do not know why, but I swear all of the YouTube tutorials and tutorials online when you are completely a beginner crocheter are so difficult. There would be times where when I was first learning, I was like, why aren't they showing the specific stitches that you're supposed to go into? It's like they make tutorials when you should already have a basic understanding. And that was really frustrating. So if you are thinking about getting into crochet, just know that it's a lot of trial and error. And even though it's 2023, there aren't that many good tutorials online until you actually know what you're doing. And then there's a ton of tutorials. It's like not nobody, but most people don't know how to create a tutorial about crocheting to a complete beginner. Anyways, off that tangent, I do love crochet now. I'm super into making clothing, and so I like making tops, and I made some stockings that were really cute. I would love to crochet like a whole outfit for an event or a cruise or something. That'd be really fun. Cool. I made a cute swimsuit cover up that I love.
Oh, it's cool.
It's so cute.
It's really good.
And so
it's so impressive. You always impress me so much. It always like blows my mind what you can do. It's crazy.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm just artsy. It
You're
comes
good
naturally.
at everything.
I'm not good
It's
at everything.
crazy.
I'm not good at sports.
She's good at
I'm not.
everything. Oh, except sports. Okay,
Yeah.
one thing.
I'm not very like coordinated when it comes to that kind of stuff. It's just like artsy things. I'm good at like creativity stuff, but like
Computers and
okay,
writing.
stop. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Everything.
My other obsession is, oh my gosh. Okay. This guy. If you're listening, you're probably like, what? This is my new squishmallow that Jace found for me. We were at a discount place. It was DD's Discounts, and it's kind of like a Ross or a Marshalls.
Maxx,
And we went in there looking for stuff for our apartment, and then we saw a big squishmallow thing, and I love squishmallows. And he found a pineapple fuzzamallow, and I think this is 14 inches. It's a medium-sized one. It's not like a huge one, but it's so soft. And her name is Maui. And this is the start of the beginning of my squishmallow obsession. Was at Five Below. Use a sticker. A couple of years ago, we were at Five Below, and there was a squish. This is when squishmallows were first starting to. Everybody was becoming obsessed with them. It was pretty much like right now's Sunny Angels obsession. And so I didn't know. I didn't need anything, right? So I was like, I don't want to start collecting plushies. I don't want junk. And then we saw a pineapple one. We saw the pineapple squishmallow named Maui, and I had to have her. And that was the beginning, and now I have a big fuzzamallow Maui, and I just love her. That's my obsession.
Those are great. I have one that has been an obsession for like almost half a year now, but I've just never talked about it on a podcast. And it's this girl, and her name's Katie Baser. She's a musician, and she's British. And if you know me, I'm a little slut for British pop stars. And I just love her music. She has her accent when she sings still. And honestly, she's not like that big of a musician I feel like she should be so famous. I think her music is so good. She's so cute. She has a great personality. I just really like her. And her name's Katie Baser. I think my favorite song by her is Pretty Boys. So if you're gonna listen to one, that's one I listen to first. Absolutely love that. So my second obsession is we did get a new car. This is the first new car I've ever had, and our last car was around 15 years old, and it finally stopped working. So we had to get a new car. We got a Tesla Model Y. We really wanted like an EV. Like we really wanted to just go fully electric, to be the best we can for the earth in those situations. Also, I've loved Tesla since I was a little kid, or not since I was a little kid, but since it came out, I just thought they were such cool cars. I think the computer system behind it is so neat, and there's just so many things that we have family members who have them, and I got to drive one for the first time around 2 years ago. And the driving experience just feels so safe to me. And there's just so many features that make me feel like safe when I'm driving it. And that's what really made me like love the car. And so we finally had to buy a new car because we literally couldn't drive ours anymore. And we think this car will last us a really long time. And I just absolutely love it. I love driving it. It just makes me happy to be in the car. And
He's
so
been actually obsessed. He's spent so much time in the Tesla Lounge Reddit or subreddit, and you just learn all of these new things. And you're like, oh my gosh, did you know that the car could do this? And this, oh my gosh, there's been this update that you could do this.
Yeah.
It's really crazy how it actually can drive itself. That was
not full self-driving, but like the autopilot is actually really cool.
It was crazy. And so we only have one car because I don't drive very much.
And we work
at
from
all.
home.
Yeah. I hate driving, actually. I just don't like it. So Jace is pretty much always the chauffeur. But I haven't even driven this car yet. I did the test drive.
You test drove one, but you haven't driven our car.
I know. I need to. I just don't like driving. But maybe I would like it.
We've also had it for 3 weeks. I think it has like 250 miles on it. Like we don't drive very much. But those 250 miles have been so fun.
The self-driving thing, there's been this new update where whenever you put it into self-drive, is it called self-drive or is it called
autopilot?
Okay, when you put it in autopilot, it turns the road on your screen rainbow, and it's so cool. It reminds me of Mario Kart. It just feels like we're driving on Mario Kart on Rainbow Road, which I guess technically we're not even driving because the car's driving itself. It's so crazy. Technology is wild.
Yeah.
But I do love it. It's really awesome. It's gray. It's really cute. We named her Yasmin.
Because it's a Model Y.
Yeah, Yasmin in the car. I wish that we could do like on Why Him, where you can press the button and instead of asking like Alexa or Google, it'd be like, Yasmin, what's the temperature like? Yasmin, open glove box.
Yeah.
Yasmin, open frunk.
But yeah, it's just been really, really cool. I'm really happy with the car, and I think it'll make me happy for the next really long time. I just feel like I'm never gonna get tired of driving it. So that's my weekly obsession. So those have been some really fun ones. I feel like today's discussion is a really fun one too. I think those are really like interesting topics that we got to discuss, and I really enjoyed discussing them. But thank you guys so much for listening or watching. So if you're here on YouTube, if you're listening, maybe watch a YouTube video. If you're watching a YouTube video,
switch it up sometimes.
Yeah,
you know, put us on the TV maybe sometimes while you're cooking. If you're usually a listener, and then you can see our faces.
I don't know. Maybe, but check it out.
You can see Maui, like
and
this
the
one would be a good
Slutway
one.
shirt.
Yeah, you can see the fun shirts that we put on, and then I'm sure whenever we have weekly obsessions that we can show them.
Yeah, but it's really cool. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. It's been so fun to record this podcast. If you guys do have any questions, make sure to leave those at 4play.com/ask, or you can send us an email at hello@4play.com and ask a question. and maybe we can get around to it. So thank you guys so much for listening, and we will talk to you in the next one.
Bye.
If you'd like to support the show, you can leave us a 5-star review wherever you're listening to our podcast. All our information will be listed in the show notes below and on our website, 4play.com. That's number 4, OURPLAY.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we make videos and vlogs about the swinging lifestyle. Head to 4play.com/YouTube to watch and subscribe. We have the ultimate adult party game for the sexually inclined called 4Play the Game that's both digital and physical. It's perfect for breaking the ice and spicing up any party. You can find more information at 4play.com/games. We also have the best swinger lifestyle, kinky, and adult humor clothing and accessories that you can find at 4play.com/shop. If you're looking to plan a lifestyle destination, booking through our links at 4play.com/travel really helps support the show and helps us be able to continue to create this type of content for you. We're on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, and more. You can find all our current social media accounts at 4play.com/socials, and I have an OnlyFans, which you can find at onlyfans.com/BellaLunaVIP. We also have a Facebook group and Discord community and would love for you to join us. You can find the direct links in the show notes below. Lastly, we're on STC and Cassidy at 4Play, and you can get a free full membership trial by using our link. You can email us at hello@4play.com with any questions or comments, or head to 4play.com/ask. Again, all our information will be listed in the show notes below, and we thank you so much for listening to our podcast. See you in the next one. Bye!